Hey everyone, welcome. Today we're discussing Crafty 4 a little bit. I want to note before we do get started, we have this file, config.json. It's in crafty4/app/config. And before you even get started, you can change your HTTPS port. There is an HTTP server running. It is just for the login screen for when people try and get to the login screen. If they try and get to it via an HTTP connection, it will get redirected to this HTTPS connection. Crafty 4 does not fully support using it as HTTP, but we did try and leave this in here. It's just a little helpful thing for people who may not necessarily know that Crafty 4 runs HTTPS. So you can change your ports from the very start. 8443 is our default port. So we'll get Crafty fired up here. You'll notice it says Crafty has fully started and is ready for use. And it will also give us a connection address. That is an IP address up here. That is not actually a named address like in Crafty version 3. So we'll go ahead and navigate to that address there. Alright, so now we've navigated to our Crafty address. And we're going to log in. Default login is admin Crafty. I'm just going to show you what it looks like if you do a bad login though. Well, you have to have something there. And we're just going to put the wrong password in. And in this version of Crafty, we actually tell you that we had an incorrect username or password. Alright, so admin Crafty will log in. You'll be greeted with a splash screen that says welcome to Crafty. There are currently no servers, yada yada. The first thing you're going to want to do is change your password. So click the gear icon in the top right. And then click the little edit button. And you're going to create a new password. So we're just going to name this Crafty4. And I can't type. Crafty4. Crafty4. Okay. You can also add a Gravatar email, and you can change your language. That's user-based now. We wanted to make sure that every individual user could have their own language instead of making it global. You can give users access to individual things like server creation, user config, and you can set a limit for how many of those individuals, how many servers, say, the individual is allowed to create. We'll click save here for now. We just changed our password. And now let's create a role. So the role will be called test role. This is where you would assign permissions for servers, but we don't have any servers yet. So we're just going to click save for now. We created a role. If we add a new user now, test user, and call it test. This doesn't have access anywhere, so I'm not too concerned. You're going to want to give them a good password though, not just test. And we'll give them access to create 2 servers. And we'll hit save. And we have test user. We can see their assigned roles. It's test role. And we can see the users that have access to certain roles. So right here we see test user. Alright, so with that all done, let's go back to the dashboard. We can create a new server. I'm still logged in as admin right now, and I'm a super user, so I can do whatever I want. In Crafty 4, we added the feature that you can now use Minecraft Bedrock with it. There's 2 ways to import Minecraft Bedrock servers. You can import an existing server, so that would just be a file, or a folder, rather, that you have on your server. You can import a zip folder. So you navigate to that zip path, and you can select the root directory for it and just import it via zip. In the future, we do plan to add the ability to upload a zip directly to this page rather than already having to have it on the machine. But for now, what we'll do is create a Minecraft Java server just from our server creation tool. We're going to do paper 1.18.2, and we're just going to call it my first server. We're going to leave it on the default port, but we could change that. And minimum and maximum RAM, we're just going to leave it 1 and 2. We can add this server to a role as we create it by clicking this drop down. And we're going to add it to test role so that our test user will have access to it. We're going to build it. Now we're going to go back to the dashboard. You'll notice it'll take a second, but it will say downloading. So now we can see that the server is downloading. Alright, now that it finished, you'll see we have our stats here. It shows you the server's total directory size. Status is offline. Players are going to be 0 right now because we don't have any. We're just going to get the server started up. We have a few options here. We have start, clone, and kill. So you can clone your servers now. and you can actually kill the processes. It'll bring up a thing saying, hey, do you want to kill this? This could be extremely dangerous. You can click kill or not. But anyway, we're going to start the server. This is a new feature with version 4. Really happy about it. It asks you if you want to agree to the EULA. So we will actually set the EULA to true for you. We just need you to agree to it. So here you are agreeing to it. We'll say yes. And then what Crafty will do is it'll agree to the EULA, and it'll actually start your server for you. You see the server started there. Now it's downloading all of its stuff, and you'll see the terminal actually has colors now. My poor VM. My poor VM. Look at that CPU. Holy cow. All right. Nice. Well, we'll start taking a little tour here. So we still have our terminal. We can say hello world, and then that's command sends. A requested feature was to be able to have the start, stop, and restart commands on your terminal page. So here they are. You have your logs page, which just shows you your detailed logs, also color-coded. And we have our schedules. When you create schedules, you can create basic schedules, advanced schedules, and reaction schedules. So let's create a few of those here. So we'll create a basic one, custom command. We'll say every 1 minute, we want to say hello world basic. We'll hit save. And then we'll create another schedule that says cron. This is just like a regular cron scheduler. So we'll do 5 asterisks to be every minute. And then we'll say hello world cron. And we'll hit save. And then we'll also do a reaction task. So we'll say reaction. And then it gives you the options of the 2 commands we already have. And we'll just take it off the cron command and we'll delay it by 10 seconds. And then we'll say custom command. And we'll say hello world 10 seconds later. So you're able to delay these reaction commands because you may not want it to happen right after. And we'll also delete this one after execution. So we have one-time commands that we're able to do. So that's going to delete after execution. We'll go back to the terminal. So those already ran on our last minute. We'll wait here for this next minute. All right, so you'll notice that we have those 2, and now we're going to wait 10 more seconds, and that third one should happen, and then it will delete itself. So there's hello world 10 seconds later. Now if we go back to our schedules, we're going to see we only have 2 tasks here because that one-time command deleted itself. That's pretty neat. Pretty powerful scheduling tool here we have in version 4. You're also able to edit your schedules, so if we pull that up, we'll see, okay, there it is. I don't actually want to edit it, so I'm going to hit cancel. Same thing with this guy. Edit. And there we are. We're able to edit everything in here. You can also delete your schedules and search for them. Then we have backups. So in our backup configuration, we can set our config for however we want it. The way that we store backups now is by number, not by date. So we can say we want to store just one backup at a time. And we also want to exclude a couple directories. So let's select those exclusions here. we want to exclude bucket.yml. We'll hit save and save. Now we're going to exclude bucket, and we're only going to keep one. And now we'll back up. You'll notice that it counts the number of files that it's backing up, and it has a percentage. So it's backing up 104, and wow, that went pretty quickly. And here we go. We have our backup. You'll notice with these features right here, you can download your backup just like in Crafty version 3, but we also have this new feature, Restore. You can restore your backup directly from this panel, which is pretty neat, and we'll demonstrate that in a few minutes. Heck, why don't we just demonstrate it right now? You'll notice that we excluded bucket.yml. So let's say, oh no, we had some griefer come on and they griefed our server. So we're going to stop it. You do want to stop your server before you restore a backup. Saving worlds. Closing server. All right, now you see we're offline. And we're going to go to backup. And we want to restore this backup. So we're going to click restore. It says, are you sure you want to restore this backup? All current server files will be changed to this backup state, and it will be unrecoverable. Yep, so we do want to go back to that backup state. And I just want to include right here, we had bucket.yml excluded. So we'll click restore. And now it's saying restoring backup. This may take a while. Basically what we're doing right now is we're importing that zip file as a new server. So we'll give it a second to do its thing. It usually takes a little bit. And here we are. Just like that, we have a server that's restored from the backup. And you'll notice this is the backup because if we go to files right now, there's no bucket.yml there. It is just non-existent because it did exactly what we wanted it to do. And if we go to backup, you'll notice that your backups from that old server are also retained to this new server. That's pretty neat. However, the schedules are not. We do not move the schedules over from a backup restore. So we'd have to create our schedules again if we wanted that. Okay, so now that we're done with the backups, let's just run the server again. It will pop up saying it's the first time because technically it's a new server. So it'll say, oh, we detected this the first time. We just give you a reminder to make sure the ports are forwarded. We'll just let the server start up again. We'll go to the files. So in Crafty version 4, we have a completely overhauled file editor. File explorer, file tree, everything is just completely overhauled. So depending upon what menu you're clicking on, you might see different options. So if you click on a directory, you can create files inside of it, create directories inside of it, rename it, upload. So if I want to rename it, I just click on it and right there. So let's create a directory. We're going to say test is the name of the directory. So you'll see it goes right here. It sorts by type, which is directories, and then alphabetical. So directory is alphabetical, and then file is alphabetical. So let's create a file inside of that test directory called test.txt. Now that's inside. And now we can edit it. We can just say this is a test. You'll notice down here when I started typing, that turned gray. But if I hit Control S, it turns green. We do support Control S keyboard quick commands in this editor. And there you have it. So now if I refresh this page and I go back into test, you see this is a test is here. And if I hit a period, you'll see it turns gray, and then I click Control S, it turns back to green. If I hit Control Z, which is also allowed, it turns gray again, and the period goes away. This is a really cool file editor. And let's try and upload here. So we'll upload a file. We're going to upload files to home Ubuntu Crafty servers. Yep. And you won't be able to see it, but I'm going to open up my file window in a different screen. And I just want to show you that drag and drop works. You can literally drag and drop files here. So let's upload a couple. I have some support logs that I downloaded. And then I also have a plugin. So we'll just drag these two files here, and you'll notice that they both come up right here. Crafty version 4 supports multiple files being uploaded at the same time. So it shows that we have two files. It lists out the files, and now we're going to click upload, and it shows us both files being uploaded here. It'll ask you not to leave the page, and there we go. Files have been uploaded. If I open up test, you'll see support logs, zip there, and you'll also see quests.jar. Just as easily as we uploaded them, we can download them. So I just downloaded quests, just simply from that file editor, and I can also delete it. And it says, you're deleting this. It will be gone forever, are you sure? And we say, yes, we want to. And now we open that back up, it's gone. There was a reason I uploaded a zip file. It's because I want to demonstrate to you guys that we can actually unzip files straight from our file editor. So if I click unzip here, it just unzips that file for me. And now I have a file named support logs. And here we are. I have all those logs there. Pretty neat, right? We can delete directories just the same as you deleted a folder, or a file rather, and now it's gone. Pretty cool. So yeah, that's about it for the file editor and file manager. But this was really overhauled in version 4, and we think it's pretty neat. You also have config for your servers. Now this looks a little bit different if you are not a super user, and we'll show you that from the other user's perspective. But as a super user, you can change the server's working directory, the log location. This is a big one for people who run modded servers and things like that, bungee cord even, where you may not have a latest.log. Well, you can change that. Also, want to note while we're here, one of our developers, Lucas, worked on our terminal being a standard in terminal and standard out. So this is pretty much real time. It doesn't scrape your logs anymore to get this terminal. It's completely overhauled. So you can actually still see your terminal even if Crafty doesn't know where your logs are. It's only if you come to this logs folder that it'll say you can't find it. So great job, Lucas. This is awesome. So we'll go back to our config here. Gives you multiple options. You can change your executable. So if you don't want, I'm using paper1.18.2.jar. If I wanted something else, I could just change it. So I'll show you this right here. I'm just going to take out the .jar. And I'm going to hit save. And when I do that, you'll notice that my execution string changed by itself. And if I put .jar back in, save, you'll notice my execution string, again, changed by itself. It added that back in. We try to make this pretty easy for you, where if you don't want to go editing your execution command, you easily just change the server executable here, and it'll change it for you. You can change your server stop command, which was also a feature that was requested by multiple people, because not everything uses the command stop, so we had to sort of account for that. Auto start delay. So if you want your server to start when Crafty starts, you can set a delay on it. That is in seconds. Server executable update URL. If you want to just be able to click this update executable button right here to update your server, we'll do that for you. You just need to enter a direct download link to the jar that you want to use inside of this executable update URL. That'll allow you to not have to upload jar files and then move them and rename them. We'll do everything for you. We just need the direct link to the jar that you want to download. And then your server IP. We just left it at 127.0.0.1. This is only for stats recording. This is not changing anything in your server.properties file. Same thing with your port here. It's not changing anything in your server.properties file. This is simply where Crafty's going to look to get your stats reporting for player counts, things like that. And then we also allow you to remove old logs after a certain amount of time. So if you don't want to keep all your server logs, you can remove them after this number. If you look at our note here, 0 is off. You can turn crash detection on and auto start on. That's all done from this menu here. We have player management. It'll show you your banned players and your players online. When there's a player online, it'll show you multiple options. You can opt them, you can de-opt them, you can kick players, you can ban players, all from right here. If you have banned players, you can click unban and it will unban the player. Pretty neat. Let's go back to our dashboard here. Oh, CPU usage came down. That's nice. Still using a good amount of memory. I want to add another server here, and we'll create the server here. General users can have the permissions to create servers. This one just doesn't. Okay, so we'll create another one. Test user, test server, and we're going to change the port here to be 25580. And we're not going to add it to an existing role because I want to show you what happens. So this is a super user. We're not going to create a role for it. We're just going to build it right now. Okay. So you'll see we have 2 servers here. While that's downloading, we'll let that finish, but we're going to log out. Test user test. You'll notice how I have a second server on my admin account, but I can't see that server here. That's because test user does not have access to that second server. That's pretty cool. So if you have a large network of people and you host servers for them and you only want certain people to have access to certain servers, that's how you do it. You only give them access to certain servers. That's all based on the role. So you'll notice now that we have 2 servers on the dashboard, you can actually reorder them in Crafty version 4. What you do is you'll take your hand and you'll click and drag and then drop. And now they're reordered. So if I click refresh, it stays there. Also in Crafty version 4, since we're doing a lot of the file management for you, we thought it was only fair that if you're deleting a server, it'll ask you, are you sure you want to delete it? We say yes. We thought it was only fair that we offer to delete the server's files from your machine. This especially helps if someone's doing some sort of hosting for others, and they don't want people to have access to the machine, but when they're deleting servers, they want the person to be able to delete the server files. So if you click yes, delete files, it will delete the server and all the files for you. Here we are back at this main screen. So that pretty much does it for Crafty. You'll notice the restart button does actually work. And then in a second, we'll demonstrate for you just what the general users configuration pages and backup pages look like. Then we'll say our goodbyes here. You notice that just restarted, no problem. Let's log out of this user. We're going to go to test user test. Here we are. We have full access to this server. Access to the schedule, backups. You'll notice here that there's no option to set the backup directory. Again, we didn't want general users to be able to be messing with directories much. Files looks the same. Config, you'll notice this is very trimmed down. We got rid of pretty much anything that would allow a user to change what directory things are working on. A lot of this was with server hosters in mind. We didn't think that they would want their clients to have access to certain things, like file paths. This is just for general users, though. They still have access to player management and all that good stuff. They have access to change themselves, too. So, just to demonstrate how these language things work, let's translate to French. Okay. Now you'll notice everything is in French. So it's pretty cool how user-based languages are working in this version of Crafty. The last thing I want to show y'all is this cool little feature that we added over here called support logs. What this will do is if you're contacting support about anything and they say, oh, we'd like to see your logs, you just click your little face up here, click support logs, and it'll say that we're preparing your logs and we'll send you a notification when they're ready. Again, this may take a while for large deployments. So we'll sort of do our thing here. That went too quickly, so a status bar didn't show up. And it'll say download support logs. Since we finished preparing them, we just click download. And that is a zip file with all of our support logs in it. Every single thing that support could ever need. And that just helps us help you. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Crafty 4. We're super excited to get this out to you guys. We think that it's a really good product, and we can't wait to see what you guys do with it.